The Learning Process by Stephanie Boyd, John C. Calhoun Elementary School, produced January 13, 2012. Have you ever thought about how students learn? What is going on inside their brains that either fosters or hinders learning? Is there anything that teachers can do to help their students learn in a better way? The answer is a resounding yes. We need to make a shift from teaching to learning. When we focus on teaching, we plan strategies for teaching our students without taking into consideration how our students learn best. The old saying, putting the cart before the horse, applies here. If we want to maximize our students' learning, then we must put the horse first by focusing on learning. When the focus is on teaching, students are expected to learn the content using the strategies that the teacher has chosen. Often, the activities chosen require rote memorization for the test, but do not focus on the knowledge and skills that they have acquired. When we focus on learning, we put our students first by planning strategies and instruction that complements their learning needs. The strategies that are used are based on not only students' learning needs, but on research that has been conducted on the brain. Students are given the opportunity to demonstrate their knowledge and understanding through project-based learning and hands-on experiences. Current trends in learning are focused more on how much students can learn rather than on how best they can learn. Learners process and perceive information in a variety of ways. The amount they learn depends on how the information is presented. Presenting content in a manner that complements the student's individual learning styles will maximize learning. Most learners can be classified into one of two categories of learning styles. They can be classified as either perceivers or processors. Under the category of perceiver, students can be either concrete or abstract. Concrete perceivers learn by direct experiences such as from doing or acting, while abstract perceivers learn by indirect experiences such as by observing and analyzing. Students categorized as processors can be classified as either active or reflective. Active processors use information as soon as they experience it, while reflective processors think about information before they use it. We can further examine learning styles by looking at the different avenues that students take to learning. This information is beneficial as teachers begin to create lessons for their students. Visual learners need to see it. These students benefit from the use of diagrams, pictures, or videos. Auditory learners need to hear it. Using lectures, discussions, or reading text aloud are strategies that teachers can use in the classroom to appeal to auditory learners. Tactile and kinesthetic learners need to do it. These students benefit from the use of hands-on experiences and movement. Brain research can facilitate a shift in focus from teaching to learning. We can learn a great deal about learning by applying the findings of neuroscience. Blakemore and Frith explain the impact of brain research on education when they state, "We believe that understanding the brain mechanisms that underlie learning and teaching could transform educational strategies and enable us to design educational programs that optimize learning for people of all ages and of all needs." Now, let's explore some findings from research. Research shows that the brain is sculpted through experience. In the past, it was thought that the brain was not able to be changed. Researchers have found that our brains are capable of adapting to changing circumstances. This is referred to as our brain's plasticity. An example of this is how babies learn language. Babies are born with neurons to learn the phonemes of 6,000 different languages. The sounds that they hear repeatedly are the sounds that they mimic. Research shows that a baby is capable of learning more than one language if they hear others producing the phonemes for that language. We also know that the brain seeks meaningful patterns. When students are presented with information, their brains try to make sense of it. If the information is meaningless, then the brain gets rid of it. Our brains drop about 99% of the information that it takes in. If there is no network in the brain for the new information to hook to, then the brain will drop the information. What does this mean for educators? The brain is good at remembering what it sees and experiences. For this reason, teachers need to use concrete, hands-on instruction in order to activate prior knowledge and to give our students experiences on which to build. The more modalities that you use to teach new information, the more likely the brain will retrieve it. Incorporating as many modalities as possible will increase the chances that a student will be able to remember and apply the experience in other areas. Memory is the procedure that our brain goes through in order to store information. There are two types of memory, procedural and declarative. Procedural memory is memory that remembers unconscious actions, such as how to tie a shoe. Declarative memory is memory that remembers episodes and concepts, or in other words, our conscious memory. Do you remember what you had for breakfast? Before an action can become an unconscious action, you must practice it. Rote rehearsal is a strategy that can be used. Practice makes permanent. An example of this is how to add or subtract. It is a procedure that needs to be practiced over and over before it becomes an unconscious action. Another example is learning how to ride a bike. Do you remember the first time you tried to ride a bike? Did you learn how to do it the first time? Probably not. You had to practice riding and falling off many times before you were able to ride a bike successfully. Declarative memory, on the other hand, needs more elaborative rehearsal. Rehearsal strategies that match declarative memory include peer tutoring, using visuals or graphics, hands-on activities, rhythm, rhyme, and rap, drawing diagrams, and dramatization. For example, when teaching students how to identify coins, instead of just simply showing them the coins, you could put the names and description of each coin into a rhyme or rap. In conclusion, teachers must focus on how their students learn. Teachers need to provide hands-on activities. Information needs to be meaningful to our students. Teachers need to provide experiences that will allow our students to activate prior knowledge. Teachers need to use a variety of modalities when teaching new information. Dr. Patricia Wolfe states, "Learning is the act of making and strengthening connections."